Throughout human history, the question of God's existence has captivated our minds. It is a question that has sparked countless debates, inspired profound philosophical inquiries, and shaped the very fabric of civilizations. From the ancient philosophers to modern-day scientists, thinkers have grappled with this ultimate mystery, seeking evidence to either prove or disprove the existence of a higher power. The debate about God's existence is not merely an intellectual exercise. It has profound implications for how we live our lives. If God exists, it suggests that there is a purpose and meaning to our existence beyond the material world. It implies that we are accountable for our actions and that there may be consequences in an afterlife. On the other hand, if there is no God, we are left to define our own meaning and morality in a universe that is indifferent to our fate. In this essay, we will delve into this age-old question, exploring the various perspectives and arguments that have been put forth over the centuries. We will examine the viewpoints of atheism, theism, and agnosticism, considering the evidence and reasoning behind each position. By engaging with these different ideas, we can gain a deeper understanding of the ongoing debate and perhaps even arrive at our own conclusions. Our journey will take us through the realms of science, philosophy, and personal experience as we seek to unravel the mysteries of the divine. Atheism, in its simplest form, is the belief that there is no God. Atheists do not accept the existence of any deities, supernatural beings, or divine forces. For them, the universe is a natural phenomenon governed by physical laws and processes. Atheists often argue that the burden of proof lies on those who claim the existence of God, as there is no empirical evidence to support such a claim. One of the key arguments put forth by atheists is the problem of evil. They point to the immense suffering and injustice in the world as evidence against the existence of a benevolent and omnipotent God. If God is all-powerful and all-loving, why does he allow so much pain and suffering to occur? Atheists argue that the existence of evil is incompatible with the traditional attributes of God. Another argument often used by atheists is the lack of empirical evidence for God's existence. Science, they argue, has yet to provide any concrete proof of a supernatural realm or a divine creator. The universe, as far as we can observe, operates according to natural laws, and there is no need to invoke supernatural explanations for its existence or functioning. Atheists also often challenge the logical consistency of religious doctrines. They point to contradictions and inconsistencies within religious texts and argue that these inconsistencies undermine the credibility of religious claims. For atheists, reason and evidence provide a more reliable guide to understanding the world than faith or revelation. Building upon the atheistic perspective, let's delve deeper into some of the key arguments against God's existence. These arguments often draw upon logic, evidence, and the human understanding of the natural world. First and foremost, the problem of evil persists as a major obstacle for belief in a benevolent deity. The sheer amount of suffering in the world, from natural disasters to human cruelty, seems incompatible with the idea of an all-powerful, all-loving God. Theists have offered various explanations for this problem, such as free will or God's unknowable plan, but atheists often find these explanations to be insufficient or even morally problematic. Another argument against God's existence stems from the principle of parsimony, often referred to as Occam's razor. This principle suggests that, when presented with competing explanations, the simplest explanation is usually the best. Since the natural world can be explained without invoking the supernatural, there is no need to posit the existence of God. Natural processes and scientific laws can account for the origin of the universe, the evolution of life, and the workings of the human mind. Furthermore, the lack of empirical evidence for God's existence remains a significant hurdle for believers. Despite centuries of theological and philosophical inquiry, there is no definitive proof that God exists. Religious experiences, miracles, and scriptural interpretations are often presented as evidence, but atheists tend to interpret these phenomena as subjective experiences, natural occurrences, or cultural artifacts. The arguments against God's existence are diverse and often complex, challenging traditional notions of faith and belief. They encourage critical thinking about the nature of the universe and our place within it. While atheism presents compelling arguments against God's existence, theism offers a contrasting perspective rooted in faith, personal experience, and a belief in a higher power. Theists argue that there is more to reality than what can be empirically observed and measured, and that faith provides a necessary lens through which to understand the divine. One of the most common arguments for God's existence is the argument from design, also known as the teleological argument. This argument suggests that the intricate order and complexity of the universe point to the existence of an intelligent designer. Just as a watch implies a watchmaker, the intricate design of the universe implies a divine creator. Theists argue that the sheer improbability of life arising from random chance points to the guiding hand of a higher power. Personal experiences also play a significant role in theistic belief. Many people report having had religious experiences such as profound feelings of peace, encounters with the divine, or miraculous events that defy scientific explanation. While these experiences are subjective, they are often deeply meaningful to the individuals who have them, and serve as powerful evidence for the existence of God in their lives. Moreover, theists often find solace and meaning in the teachings and traditions of their respective religions. Religious texts, such as the Bible, the Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita, provide moral guidance, spiritual inspiration, and a sense of purpose that many find comforting and fulfilling. The theistic perspective emphasizes the importance of faith, personal experience, and the search for meaning in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable. Section 5. Arguments for God, Design and Experience. Let's delve deeper into the arguments that theists use to support their belief in God. These arguments often draw upon observations of the natural world, personal experiences, and philosophical reasoning. The argument from design, as mentioned earlier, posits that the universe exhibits an inherent order and complexity that points to a divine creator. Theists often cite the fine-tuning of the universe, where physical constants and laws are precisely calibrated to allow for the existence of life, as evidence for intelligent design. They argue that the probability of such precise conditions arising by pure chance is infinitesimally small. Another argument for God's existence is the cosmological argument, which focuses on the origin of the universe. This argument suggests that everything that begins to exist must have a cause. Since the universe began to exist, it too must have a cause, and this ultimate cause is God. Theists argue that the universe cannot simply have come from nothing, and that there must be a necessary being, uncaused and eternal, who brought the universe into existence. Furthermore, theists often point to the existence of objective morality as evidence for God. They argue that without God, there is no basis for objective moral values, and that morality becomes a matter of personal preference or societal convention. Theists believe that God is the ultimate source of morality, and that our sense of right and wrong is rooted in his divine nature. The arguments for God's existence, like the arguments against it, are complex and open to interpretation. They invite us to consider the nature of the universe, the meaning of life, and the possibility of a reality that transcends our immediate perception. Section 6. Agnosticism, Embracing Uncertainty. While atheism and theism represent opposing stances on the existence of God, agnosticism occupies a middle ground, acknowledging the limitations of human knowledge and embracing uncertainty. Agnostics neither assert nor deny the existence of God, maintaining that the question is ultimately unknowable. Agnostics argue that the human mind is inherently limited in its capacity to comprehend the ultimate nature of reality. Just as an ant cannot grasp the complexities of human civilization, we may not possess the intellectual capacity to understand or prove the existence or non-existence of God. For agnostics, the absence of definitive proof does not necessarily equate to evidence of absence. They acknowledge that there may be aspects of reality that are beyond our current scientific understanding or philosophical frameworks. Agnostics often emphasize the importance of intellectual humility and the need to remain open to new possibilities. Some agnostics adopt a practical approach, living their lives as if God does not exist while remaining open to the possibility that he might. They focus on ethical and moral principles based on reason and compassion rather than on the dictates of religious dogma. Agnosticism offers a nuanced perspective on the God debate, acknowledging the limitations of human knowledge and embracing the possibility that some questions may ultimately remain unanswered. Section 7. Science and religion: conflict or harmony. The relationship between science and religion has been a subject of much debate and controversy throughout history. Some view science and religion as inherently incompatible, locked in an eternal struggle for dominance. Others see them as complementary ways of understanding the world, each offering unique insights into different aspects of reality. The conflict model of science and religion often arises when religious claims contradict scientific findings. For example, the literal interpretation of creation stories in some religions conflicts with the scientific theory of evolution. In such cases, those who prioritize scientific evidence may view religious beliefs as outdated or even harmful. However, many argue that science and religion are not inherently opposed, but rather address different questions. Science seeks to explain the natural world through observation, experimentation, and the formulation of testable hypotheses. Religion, on the other hand, often deals with questions of ultimate meaning, purpose, and morality, questions that lie outside the realm of scientific inquiry. From this perspective, science and religion can be seen as complementary ways of understanding the world, each offering valuable insights into different aspects of human experience. Science can provide us with knowledge about the natural world, while religion can provide moral guidance, spiritual solace, and a sense of purpose. Section 8. The limits of reason: can we truly know? As we have explored the various arguments for and against God's existence, it becomes evident that reason alone may not be sufficient to provide a definitive answer. Both atheism and theism rely on assumptions and interpretations that cannot be empirically proven. This raises the question, are there limits to what we can truly know? Philosophers throughout history have grappled with the limits of human knowledge. Some, like Immanuel Kant, have argued that there are inherent limits to human reason and that we can never have direct access to the thing in itself, the ultimate reality that lies beyond our perceptions. This suggests that the question of God's existence may ultimately be beyond the reach of human comprehension. Others, like Søren Kierkegaard, have emphasized the role of faith in matters of ultimate concern. For Kierkegaard, faith is not about blind belief, but rather a leap into the unknown, an act of commitment that transcends rational proof. From this perspective, the existence of God is not something to be proven or disproven, but rather a matter of personal decision and commitment. The question of God's existence may ultimately lie beyond the realm of what we can definitively know through reason alone. It is a question that touches upon the deepest mysteries of human existence and invites us to grapple with the limits of our own understanding. Section 9. Conclusion. A matter of personal conviction. The question of God's existence is a profound and enduring one, captivating philosophers, theologians, and ordinary individuals alike for centuries. As we have seen, there are compelling arguments both for and against the existence of a higher power. Atheism offers a rational and evidence-based perspective, while theism provides comfort, meaning, and a sense of purpose. Agnosticism, meanwhile, embraces uncertainty and acknowledges the limitations of human knowledge. Ultimately, the question of whether or not God exists is a matter of personal conviction. There is no definitive proof or disproof, and each individual must grapple with the evidence, weigh the arguments, and arrive at their own conclusions. The journey of exploring this question is often more important than the destination, as it forces us to confront our own beliefs, values, and assumptions about the nature of reality. Whether we find solace in faith, meaning in reason, or embrace the mystery of the unknown, the question of God's existence will likely continue to inspire wonder, debate, and a search for truth for generations to come. As we conclude our exploration of this timeless question, let us remember that the diversity of human thought and belief is something to be cherished, not feared. By engaging in respectful dialogue and seeking common ground, we can learn from one another and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit.